He disappeared without paying his rent. And I knew that I never should have had someone like him in here in the first place.
She can't understand you unless she can see your lips.
Oh, do you need any help?
She says he's not here anymore.
Who?
My brother. Look, it was over a month ago.
I don't know where he is. He didn't leave me his address.
Are you sure even he's in San Francisco?
Yeah, I'm sure. Look, he sent me this card a week ago.
Just says, he's not a very good speller. Just yes. God is alive and well in a sugar cube. Now, what do you suppose he meant by that?
I found this film after watching Jack Nicholson in The Shining and also Easy Rider. He stands as one of my favorite actors for the amazing roles he played in both of those movies, as well as a few others. When I went searching for more of his films, I stumbled upon this Haight-Ashbury fever dream. The Summer of Love in 1967 was a transformative time centered in San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury district. It was the epicenter of the counterculture movement, embracing ideals of peace, love, and communal living. This period saw the rise of the hippie movement, which rejected traditional norms and materialism in favor of personal freedom and spiritual exploration. Psychedelic music and art flourished, with bands like the Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane becoming iconic figures of the era. The movement was also closely linked to anti-war protests, civil rights activism, and a broader push for social reform. Key events included the Human Be-In at Golden Gate Park and the Monterey Pop Festival, both of which celebrated the collective spirit of the Summer of Love. However, the reality of life in Haight-Ashbury was more complex. The influx of young people overwhelmed the neighborhood's resources, leading to severe overcrowding and deteriorating living conditions. Many newcomers were financially unprepared, resulting in homelessness and dependence on local charities. Health concerns arose from widespread drug use and poor hygiene, and increased police scrutiny led to frequent conflicts with authorities. Additionally, the district's growing fame attracted commercial interests, leading to the commercialization of the area and tension between the original counterculture ideals and profit-driven motives. Set against this background, Psych-Out weaves a surreal psychedelic story. I found this film that we're talking about today free on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description for anyone interested in watching. It's the full director's cut. I'll also be linking some articles in the description for anyone interested in a more in-depth look into the movie itself as well. Psych-Out was released in 1968, a year before Nicholson would play in his breakout role as George Hansen in Easy Rider, released in 1969. He's accompanied by his co-star, Susan Strasberg, and they play the roles of Stoney and Jenny. It was produced by Dick Clark Productions, distributed by American International Pictures, and directed by Richard Rush. The original screenplay was written by Jack Nicholson, and it was called The Love Children. Here's a direct quote from Wikipedia about why that name change happened. The film was originally titled The Love Children, but was changed at the request of distributors who worried that audiences might think it was a film about bastards. Producer Samuel Z. Arkoff came up with the new title of Psych-Out, based on a recent successful reissue of Psycho. It was set with a dirt cheap budget of $200,000 and was filmed in about 18 days, on par with most exploitation films, though it was one of the last exploitation films of the 60s for many of its principles. For those that don't know, an exploitation film is a film that tries to succeed financially by exploiting current trends, niche genres, or lurid content. Exploitation films are generally low-quality B-movies, though some set trends attract critical attention, become historically important, and even gain a cult following. 2. Also, something I think is important to mention is that this film was also made to have an anti-drug message. Here is a comment from Dick Clark himself about the matter. Because I'd seen the kids in the hippie commune living in awful squalor. In the film, you see scenes where it's all wonderful. They're all stoned out, having a great time. Then there's the morning after scene. The garbage lying around, a roach crawling through the food, a half-eaten orange crawling with maggots. If you saw it, the film today, you'd say it was a reasonably accurate view of what was going on then. 2. This film follows in the footsteps of Peter Fonda's The Trip, released in 1967, as well as Easy Rider, released later on in 1969. With stunt coordinator Garry Kent in charge of the special effects, they entered into the 60s hall of ridiculous acid trip scenes. So, let me give you the rundown of the plot. Psych-Out is a countercultural drama set against the vibrant backdrop of San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury district during the height of the 1960s hippie movement. The film follows the journey of Jenny Davis, Susan Strasberg, a deaf runaway who arrives in San Francisco in search of her missing brother, Steve Bruce Dern. Side note, I was surprised to see that Bruce Dern was in this movie as well. I just covered the Cowboys in my last project, and he co-starred with John Wayne in 1972 as a cowardly outlaw. A far cry from his role in this film as a strung-out hippie. Also, another interesting fact, Jack Nicholson was billed under him on this film. The very next year, he would star in Easy Rider, one of the most popular countercultural films of its time. Jenny, a small-town girl, quickly immerses herself in the eclectic and free-spirited world of the hippie community. She encounters a colorful array of characters, including the charismatic and rebellious Stoney, Jack Nicholson, who leads a psychedelic rock band called Mumblin' Jim. Stoney becomes her guide and protector in this new, bewildering world. As Jenny searches for her brother, she experiences the highs and lows of the counterculture lifestyle. She is exposed to the era's music, drugs, and free love ethos. Throughout her journey, Jenny's innocence and determination provide a stark contrast to the more jaded and hedonistic lives of the people around her. The film paints a vivid picture of the time, featuring performances by real bands like The Seeds and Strawberry Alarm Clock, which enhance the authentic atmosphere of the era. Amidst the psychedelic music and vibrant street scenes, Jenny's quest for her brother becomes a metaphor for a deeper search for identity and belonging. Psych-Out captures the essence of the 1960s counterculture movement with its experimental cinematography and a soundtrack that reflects the period's eclectic musical tastes. The film is a poignant and immersive portrayal of a young woman's search for family and meaning in a world teetering on the edge of change. I had fun watching this movie again to make this video. It takes me back to the first days I discovered the 60s and learned about the huge culture that surrounded the Haight-Ashbury scene. This film's intention was to be anti-drug, yet the beautiful psychedelic cinematography draws you in closer to the fascination of the hippie scene, especially the aesthetic. Overall, if you have an eye for the 60s counterculture scene, this film is the perfect surreal depiction for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe for more.